Hey guys, it's Jake and Emily here.
Today we're going to be discussing personal growth and development.
We had a few people reach out in the comments and messages just asking us what we've done over the last little bit for some personal growth and development. And so we just thought we'd jump on and chat about some of the things that we've used or that we continue to use, books, podcasts, YouTube, stuff like that, and go forward from there. So
to start off, I feel like for us, it's important because, at least for me, I feel like before we started doing this, I was kind of just in like survival mode. Every day, I was stressed all the time. I never knew what was going on. I feel like we didn't have a good routine with the kids, which made everything worse for us.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel as well. We've been kind of working on stuff and just trying to implement a little bit at a time for probably the past 2 years or so. And it definitely has continued to get better and better. You definitely have rough days still and fall off the wagon, but overall quality of life has definitely increased and improved.
I feel like as we've done it longer too, we've been better at keeping up those routines, being more consistent than we were at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's made a huge difference in our lives.
Yeah, like when you fall off for a day, you can get right back on it the next day a lot easier now than in the past. So
it was easy before to just stop for weeks at a time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, cut you off.
Sorry. But now you feel a difference when you miss a day and you want to get back to that routine.
Yeah. No, and I think the same thing for me, 2 years ago and before that, a lot of my adult life and our married life, it kind of seemed like day to day. Like there'd be days like I would stay up late just because I wasn't ready for the next day to begin and like to do it all over again. It felt like a continual rut or a place where you weren't seeing progression each day and you were just kind of getting through the day to get on to the next day to get through another day instead of like looking forward to each day and what am I going to do better and how am I going to improve and feel better and move life forward instead of just kind of like being there.
Yeah.
Existing.
I was unhappy each day and I wanted a change, but I feel like I never put the effort in to make that change, and so it was just that continual like cycle of being unhappy and not really knowing what to do about it.
Yeah, it does take a lot of effort, and I think we've tried to start things in the past and then just fallen off and multiple times, and until you can really get it going and get started with some consistency, it feels almost impossible because it is hard work and there's still days where you don't want to do stuff. But take this morning for example, rough night last night, had a kid throwing up in the middle of the night or cleaning carpets at 1:30 a.m. You don't get enough sleep, you wake up, you don't get the best start to your day, but here we are, still getting stuff done, and
we missed some things in our routine, but I feel like we did pretty good about not completely falling out of our whole routine.
Yeah. In the past,
it ruins our whole day.
Yeah, a night like last night would have meant a day like today just getting nothing done. And there's still been a lot of productivity and movement and getting stuff done. So those are some of the benefits we've seen.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So
I feel like the routines helped our kids also with like developing good habits. They see us doing things to improve ourselves and us helping to like get them to build those things to be better adults. Yeah,
try to be an example, but then also having them on their set schedules that we have them, throughout the day that, they do this progression of activities that they're supposed to be doing, so they're just not like aimlessly doing whatever a kid would do for half the day.
Right.
So I think it's definitely helped them as well, which has been good. It's been a struggle at times because they don't always want to transition to what they're supposed to be doing, or
not play with toys and do the things you're supposed to do,
or play video games or whatever. So we'll just bump into talking about a couple of the methods we've used to gain information and knowledge and kind of go from there. We won't go into detail on any of this stuff, just kind of start putting it out there. If you guys want like detailed things about certain books or anything that we've discussed, then let us know. Happy to like do a separate video and go into more detail about certain items. And we have a lot of that stuff on like our Instagrams and stuff like that already with some of the material, so check it out if you want to. But yeah, books.
I feel like books have been the biggest thing for me that have made a difference, and one that was easy for me to implement. I've always been a huge reader, not necessarily self-help or personal development books, but I feel like that was one area that has made a huge difference for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, books have been great. I haven't been a huge reader,
No.
So, but I notice how much information stays with me when I physically read it.
Yeah.
It's just, it impacts you differently than listening to it. Listening to it is still better than nothing, but I think for most people, it's been, proven how actually having to read it and bring it in and see the words allows the information to stick a little bit better and hit home.
Yeah.
So
makes a bigger impact. I feel like we at the beginning tried to like listen to some of the books, do audio books or listen to them on YouTube, and we did not retain the information as well.
Yeah.
And then once we started like actually physically reading them and highlighting pieces that stood out to us.
Taking notes has been huge.
Yeah.
Not just passively reading, but actively reading, taking notes, discussing pieces of information that interest us, having conversation about it has been huge.
Yeah, helps it sink in deeper, and I feel like we've remembered the things that we've liked about stuff a lot better than we did in the past.
Yeah. So what's some of the, I guess let's start with one. What's one book that you think's been really beneficial for you?
My favorite book we read recently was What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, all about positive self-talk and really like the thoughts, the things you say out loud, the things people say, just how ingrained that is into your brain. And after reading that, I kind of noticed, I wouldn't say that I was like a super negative person, but just like, even I'm not a morning person. I used to say that all the time. I am not a morning person, and how much that really like affected me waking up in the morning and not wanting to get up because I told myself that I didn't like getting up. So just those little things that you didn't even realize you said to yourself, just how much they make a big impact. And I feel like being conscious and aware of that has made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, that was a great one. That book's by Shad Helmstetter.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's an interesting name, but it's a great one. So, and it's a pretty easy read. It's not like super heavy or anything like that. It
keeps you engaged well.
It's engaged, and it's not very long. It's like maybe 200 pages.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's a good one.
Very impactful though.
And it gives you some nice step-by-steps. So, which is good. I loved Atomic Habits. We did that one last year. I think that was a huge one for me because I've struggled with consistency. Like I've always had the right thoughts and ideas about what I'm supposed to be doing or, trying certain things or whatnot, but consistency's always been an issue with me. Just, we've had a very busy and on-the-go life for most of our life, and so it was like trying to get habits to stick and to make things happen every single day, and to have that consistency to move forward.
Yeah.
That book's been huge, and I follow that author James Clear on Instagram and all the social news, get his emails, and it's just constant good reminders every week about how your mindset should be, or just little tips to continue putting in like good habits or changes. So that one's been huge.
I think I liked that one a lot because he talks about making the little changes, adding in little things to your life, not sometimes I think when people think of goals or changing habits, it's the massive like New Year's resolutions that I have to do these huge things.
Yeah.
But it's easy for those to not stick for the long term.
Yeah.
And so I think he talks about good stuff about making little changes that make a big impact over time.
It's all about consistency, just a little bit better every single day. So that was huge for me, because I think that was one of my big issues, was just trying to make too big of changes at once, and you just don't have the mental capacity or the bandwidth to stick with it, because one thing throws you off and it's so hard to get back on. And so just starting small and then slowly adding over time, in the long run, is going to be much better if you can get consistent at it.
I feel like personally, I used to think that like doing the small things wasn't even like really making progress, you needed to do those big things to make a big impact in your life and show that you really were like a good person or whatever, doing good things. And I feel like that book helped change my mindset on that like it's the little things that add up to make those big things over time. Yeah,
nobody just jumps from being somebody or acting a certain way or doing certain things to the next day waking up and being totally different.
Yeah.
We may see that on the outside and be like, oh, you used to be this way and now you're this way, and it just seemed like it happened overnight, but it doesn't. It happens over a span of time.
Yeah.
And just being consistent at it and continually working on it. So, I think those are big ones. We've obviously been reading a lot of business-based books and real estate-based books, so that has a lot of stuff with like self-confidence and how to talk to people and just believing in yourself and like stuff like that. And Ryan Pineda's Wealthy Way material books, and he's got podcasts and YouTube and all that type of stuff, has resonated with me a lot too, just because it's not the typical you got to outwork everybody, you got to grind out 80, 100 hours a week to be successful or do these things. And a lot of this stuff implements a lot of growth and development stuff, but also having a very balanced life across everything.
He's more the opposite. Like, you shouldn't be working that much. Like, you're doing something wrong if you have to work that much. Like, you need to have that balance in lots of different aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Business shouldn't take over everything.
Yeah. So his material has been something I've really enjoyed as well and continually go back to. So
I think the personal development has also helped us be better in our business too.
Oh, for sure.
Like, all of those little things that we've learned, we've been able to implement into our business as well, and just make us that much more efficient and better at doing like what we're working towards in that aspect of our life too.
Yeah, I think we made a conscious effort that our personal growth is going to directly impact our business growth and business success, and I think that's proven true and will continue to grow as we grow.
Yeah.
So I think it's been smart to put so much focus into that.
I feel like we've really worked hard on being like well-rounded people, not just like excelling in one aspect, but trying to like improve in a lot of different aspects in our lives.
Yeah. And I mean, books are so extensive. We have like a list of 100, and it just like there's going to be so, and it just keeps growing. So there's so much out there to read and to go back to. So like every time we finish one and start a new one, it's great. And obviously we try to have a balance between personal growth and business and stuff like that. So we probably don't get through as many like personal development based ones as I would like, because we have to fit in the other education and stuff like that. But it's been a good balance. So there'll be a lot more books to come, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but those are some of our favorite ones recently.
We'll make sure to post on our social media every time we find a really good book that we've liked, so other people can see.
Yeah. So what about podcasts?
You're so much better at good development podcasts than I am. I just get on my podcast app and I'm like, oh, my true crime podcast. I don't want to listen to personal development. Definitely something I'm working on, but we are part of the Buffini and Company for real estate, and he has a really good podcast. It's a Good Life. A lot of it's business based, but I think it translates well into any business and also your personal life. So you're a lot better at putting that on, but I'll listen to that with you, and I feel like he has a really good podcasts that we like, what ones do you feel like are your favorites or have impacted you the most?
I mean, on Buffini's, it is a business based in the foundation, but I mean, everything they discuss and talk about is really stories of where people have been and what they've done to create success and development in their life, both business and personally. So it's intertwined, which is why I think it's impactful for really any business you're in, any industry you're in, or whatever your job is, because it goes from, you know, a lot of the stories are, you know, I was here down in the dumps or at this level, and these are the things I did to not only have success in a career path, but also, you know, personally, and to, you know, it's titled It's a Good Life, you know, to live a good life and to, you know, give back to your community and to, you know, be family oriented and all that type of stuff. So that's a really good one.
He's a lot like Ryan Pineda in that way, that he really promotes, like, to have a good life, you have to have balance in a lot of aspects, and like, here's how you can have success in all areas of your life to get that good life. Yeah. Which is nice, because like you said, you don't always see that in like the business development type of ones. Yeah. Chasing Excellence is another one I like. It's they kind of just bring up a topic and usually have like a guest on, and it's so they have like health and wellness topics, like social, you know, health and relationship based stuff, family stuff, like all different types of topics, but it's just very broad, and it's again more like chasing excellence in all areas of life, because I think we look up to some people and they're like, oh, they're an amazing athlete, or they're an amazing business person, or, you know, whatever they're really good at. But then when you really get into that person's life, maybe most of the other areas of their life are not fantastic, and they're lacking in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, they maybe grinded it out, you know, and that's all they did, is that one sole focus they had to become like the best or one of the best, but they let all the other pieces of their life fall apart. And like, at least for me, that's not what I'm looking for in life. Like, I'm looking to have joy and fulfillment all around, not just in business or in health or in family or in activity or, you know, whatever. It's got to be very well-rounded. So that's what fulfills me, at least. I feel like that's what we look for a lot in the things that we choose to listen to and to read, is things that help us become a better, well-rounded person, not just excelling in one aspect of our lives. Because if business was our sole focus, there's a lot of things we could be doing differently that would grow our business faster, but it would hurt a lot of other aspects of our life. And we're just not willing to sacrifice those other things to make more money faster, or to grow a business faster, or to attain material things quicker. So there's a lot of other things that are more important than solely focusing on one thing. I think if you can grow all of it at the same time at a bit slower pace, it will be more fulfilling. You can still have the success all over. So do you have any other podcasts you want to shout out? I told you, I'm not great. I need to find some more. If I find some, I'll shout them out. But I definitely like the podcast more, because on the go, a lot more I've been in my life, in the car a lot, or back and forth to soccer games and soccer practice, stuff like that. So I've been into podcasts for a long time, but a couple others. I mean, there's a lot of great podcasts for any topic, but I have my degrees in psychology, so Dr. Phil is another great one that has a great podcast, and I'm sure a lot of people look at that and go, oh, Dr. Phil, he's got that crazy TV show, he's got all the crazy people on, and, you know, he does that and has that, and that's obviously another side of his business, but at the end of the day, he is a very good psychologist, and his podcasts are much more professional than his TV show. Not as much drama. I mean, TV is for entertainment, right? And so the TV show is for entertainment, but the podcast is not necessarily for entertainment, but for growth. And so if you're into psychology and stuff like that, his podcast has a lot of interesting topics on it in that aspect. So that's been a good one. So Ryan Pineda's got a podcast. We listen to a lot of real estate based podcasts too, Bigger Pockets, and there's some great local podcasts in Utah for real estate and some other national ones. So that's, we mix that stuff in as well, podcast wise. So, and you have your true crime.
Oh, my true crime, yes.
I don't do too much entertainment for podcasts. It's more try to intake stuff.
Joe Rogan, but like the topics that really interest you.
Yeah, only very specific topics.
I actually really like the Jordan Harbinger show.
Oh yeah, that's
kind of like Joe Rogan a little bit. He just does a variety of topics, but I feel like it helps me learn more about
just awareness of the world.
Yeah, things going on in the world or things I might not have heard of otherwise. So I feel like I do listen to that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not necessarily personal growth, but just education.
Yeah. So YouTube is another big one as far as taking in information and gaining it. So I think YouTube's just great for like if you're interested in a topic or you need help on something or whatever, type it in. It's like one of the biggest search engines in the world, like Google. And so you just type the topic in, you get a list of videos and start, taking stuff in and learning. And obviously you got to do your due diligence and not take everything as far as like it's gold or it's 100% correct. You got to look into it and whatnot, but there's just so much information. So TED Talks and just anything you can think of is on YouTube. It's really the new university as far as if you want to learn how to do something.
Yeah. I feel like YouTube also gives you like shorter clips. Sometimes podcasts are really long.
Yeah.
I think YouTube can give you like a condensed, shorter burst of information, things like that. Maybe if you don't have as much time or you don't like to listen in the background, you really want to pay attention. I think YouTube's a good option for that.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we love YouTube. One specific thing on YouTube channel that I like is it's called Absolute Motivation. And it's just, it kind of brings me back to my athlete days of just like, it's a little bit more
getting pumped up.
Like, hardcore, like workout type motivation, like, military style a little bit. It's a lot more aggressive, but, they have, their videos are like 6 to 8 minutes and it's just, so when I'm lacking some motivation in the morning, I'll usually like throw on one of their videos and they have a new one every couple days and it's just like a bunch of like motivational sayings or quotes, and to this, music that's very dramatic and, it's not teaching you anything new, but it's just, it just gets your blood pumping and it like I said, it brings me back to my athlete days of like, it's game time, like it's ready to go, it's do or die. And
like you put it on in the morning when our routine's maybe not been quite as good that day or we struggled with waking up, and it kind of like motivates us to get started on work as we're like cooking breakfast with the kids or whatever.
Yeah, so that's one we go back to, or at least I go back to often. But outside that, there's just everything on YouTube. I mean, all the people we talked about in podcasts and books, they all have YouTube content too, and just it's all there, so that's great. So
I feel like as far as like what we've implemented, the biggest change we've made over the last 2 years or so has been a morning routine.
Yeah.
I feel like we've made a lot of adjustments to it since we first started.
And continually added a little bit to it.
Change things that we feel like aren't working well, or maybe something we feel like we're good at now and we need help with something else.
Mm-hmm. So basically our morning routine, we wake up between 5:45 and 6.
Emily gets up at 6 because it's hard.
But it's, we've continually moved it earlier because we're trying to fit in more before the day. And so like, and neither of us have been morning people. So it's gradually over the past several years gotten early and earlier and earlier. We've been at kind of 5:45 to 6 as a sweet spot for a while now. But even we redid our business schedule the last week or so, and even that, I'm like, oh, maybe we could squeeze another 15 or 30 minutes earlier to get.
Now it's getting kind of tight again with all the stuff we want to add.
Exactly.
And accomplish.
But yeah, the first thing we do right now is meditation. And it was definitely difficult at first.
Definitely, I feel like something you have to practice at for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's nice to we do that first thing, the kids aren't awake, it's really quiet.
I love doing it in the dark too.
Yeah.
It just I used to hate being awake in the morning when it was dark just because I felt like nothing was going on. But now that's the beauty of it, is that nothing's going on in the world. And it's dark and it's quiet and you are able to take a moment to yourself and just feel everything and go through everything.
I feel like it's helped me not feel as rushed and stressed in the mornings. I feel like I used to be the person that woke up at the very last second to throw my hair in a ponytail and leave.
Yeah, I mean, when you were working at Segalily, that's what you did, right? Alarm went off.
The last
couple minutes and you're throwing your work clothes on and
how fast can I get the kids ready
to
go to grandma's house and be there on time. So I feel like that's been one thing that's nice to help start calm, not stress about things. Mm-hmm. I feel like it sets the tone for the day.
Also, when you're waking up that early and you know you have a set schedule, you know you have things that are coming later in the day, but you can't do anything about them right now.
Yeah.
If we have something going on in the business that has to get done that day, and it's something very important, it doesn't matter at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, because the people that I need to get that done in other businesses or other companies or the clients themselves are not going to take my phone call or my text message or not be happy about it at 5:30 in the morning. So it doesn't matter at that point in time. It's coming and I'm preparing for it and I'm ready to tackle that. But at that point in time in the day, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. I have to wait until that opportunity is right. And so that's why that early start allows you to focus on other things, because the other stuff that may be stressing you out or that you have coming, you just can't do anything about it yet.
Yeah.
So
there's no sense in stressing.
Yeah.
You get your other stuff done and then you work on it when you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, the meditation has been huge as far as just being calm and allowing things to happen at the right time or when it's appropriate.
Yeah. If you're wanting to start meditation, a good place to start, actually, YouTube. The Daily Calm has an app that you can pay for a subscription, but they do have 10 or so videos that are 10-minute morning meditations that are guided you can listen to. We like to do that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Beachbody has stuff.
Find lots of them.
Lots of meditation guidance.
We've liked the Daily Calm ones. They're a good length of time.
I like her voice is just nice and calming too.
Yeah.
When we first started trying meditation, we were just trying to do it without any guidance and just set a timer and be we're gonna
calm your brain,
and sit in silence for this X amount of time. And it was so difficult without the guidance and just without some of the ambient noise,
the music, and the mood.
So I'd highly suggest doing it guided when you start, because it felt unproductive before that, and the guided meditation's been great, and it feels a lot more productive.
Yeah, it made a big difference when we started trying to do that versus just sitting there together.
Yeah, so that's been awesome. The next thing we do after that is go right into a workout. And it's not anything crazy. We don't have a gym membership. We don't go to a gym. It's one of those things where going to a physical gym would take a lot more time. And with our kids the age they are, they don't have childcare that early, and it would just be too. I would love to go back to a physical gym, or obviously have a home gym with all the weights and stuff when it's an opportunity. But right now we use the Beachbody on-demand app. They have thousands of videos and just different types of activities and exercises, and you can fit the ones into your time frame and the intensity level. And so, so we do that. We have our stationary bike, we have some dumbbells and stuff like that as far as at home, pull-up bars and stuff like that, but nothing intense. But we work out at home right now.
Yeah, the Beachbody's nice though, because you can search for a workout that is the time length you have. You have 15 minutes, you can find them. If you want an hour, you can find them. So it's nice that there's a variety of things to find for exactly what we need that day.
Yeah,
works well for us right now.
Yeah, so it's been good. And again, just consistency, right? Like, I think in the past when we've tried to be more physically healthy, we've jumped way too heavy into the intensity side of the pool, right?
And then you're so sore you can't move for a week, and then you fall off the wagon again.
So definitely we've been much better in the recent history of starting out at a lower level that we can do every day, and slowly increasing the intensity that we can keep up with, and just continually improving. So
building that habit.
Yeah.
Not overwhelming ourselves with starting out too intense, too long.
So that's been good. And with our meditation and with working out, that we usually get done with that by about 7ish.
And then our kids are awake.
Yeah, kids get up at about 7, sometimes a little bit earlier if they hear us or whatever, but we try to make them come in and do some workouts, or if they get up earlier. So sometimes that keeps them in bed so they don't have to work out, but we usually go right into breakfast after that, because the kids are up, get breakfast hungry. Done, and then after we all eat breakfast, I guess, get ready for the day, add in self-talk in front. So, and that just takes like 60 seconds. Our kids have a self-talk script for each of them. We both have a self-talk script. Just do it in front of the mirror. I've recorded myself in my self-talk script, so like I can just play it another couple times throughout the day and just hear it. That's part of our morning routine. Getting ready, getting the kids off to school, obviously getting our day started. We try to start our business stuff by about 8 o'clock. And get right into it. And the first thing we do for business is read, right? We try to do, 20 to 30 minutes of education and reading right off the bat. And a lot of that is, depending on what book we're reading, right? Sometimes it's a much more business focused book, but a lot of times it's, we swap back and forth. All right, we do a business one, then we do a personal development one, then we do a business one. But that 30 minutes is really important to how priming our day to be productive. And really playing into that motivation. So.
I feel like it helps us retain things too. Like, we're not trying to smash it in at the very end of our work day after we're stressed or we're been super busy all day and the kids are home from school. Like, we try to make it a priority and do that first, so that we're in a good state of mind to retain that information that we're trying to learn.
Yeah, and then after that, it's on to the work day, and getting through it and everything you have throughout the rest of the day, and I mean, there's some other things we've implemented, doing more of, and scheduling it in to make sure it happens. Cold exposure is one of those things. Cold plunging, cold showers, just...
Our kids even do it. If they can do it, anyone can.
What's the biggest benefit you've seen in that? Obviously, there's a lot of stuff out there of like how it helps you health-wise and stuff like that, but just personally, what has it done for you?
The biggest thing I feel like I've noticed is I'm not as sore from working out, so I feel like that's helped us keep up that routine, because it's like that ice bath at the end of the day or whatever. But I feel like I used to want to make changes and things, and I feel like my mind limited what I thought I could do. And I feel like being able to do that and really like pushing through that hard thing just like proved to myself that I can do hard things.
Yeah.
Makes trying other hard things a little bit easier, not quite as intimidating, knowing you can do that hard thing, you can do lots of hard things.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just that, like, when we come up against something that we know is going to be difficult or that we don't want to do, we just have that internal battle that a lot of times gets us to not do it.
Yeah.
And we just be like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow or the next day or whatever. And so just doing that repeatedly, it never gets like easy.
No.
You always have to be like, all right, it's time to do this and let's go. But just winning that battle each day adds to your resilience and just the self-belief that you can do difficult things. So like, obviously it's helped with the inflammation and stuff like that. And I've struggled with inflammation for a long time because of some autoimmune stuff in my joints and whatever. And so I feel like I have to like take less anti-inflammatory medication and stuff like that. So that's been beneficial. I do feel like it's improved our sleep too.
Yeah.
I
feel like I notice a difference in my sleep the days that we just run out of time and don't fit it in, or like work meetings get scheduled. I notice that difference, that like you almost miss it even though you know it would be hard. Like you notice that it's not there.
Yeah, we're still experimenting on the best time of day to do that. We've been doing it right at the end of our business day. So when we finish business, we get home and do it right away. And it's kind of like giving us a reinvigorated energy to finish out the day.
Yeah.
You know, the business day is long and difficult at times and stressful, and doing that kind of has boosted my energy a lot. So I like the timing of that, but also it's not a set time, and if you're extremely busy and you don't get done with work until 8 p.m., it's much harder to do it at that time. And then also, like I said, you're not getting the benefits at the to reinvigorate you, because it's at the end of the day. It's still good for you, but a lot of people do it first thing in the morning, and a lot of people do it at night too. So we haven't been as consistent on like the exact timing, but I've also just tried to do it when I feel overwhelmed, because it gives me an opportunity to just be out by myself and like really focus on something and breathe and like get through something and just push all the rest of it out. So like,
it's almost like another like little meditation session.
It is. It's very similar, just a lot colder.
Yes,
so,
a lot colder.
But you know, so that's been great, and we're still playing around with the best ways and to do that and to get the most benefits out of it. But what's some other things you've enjoyed us implementing?
Along with like waking up at a certain time, I feel like we've made ourselves go to bed at a good time. We're in bed by 10, usually trying to be asleep by 10:30, and I feel like that's made a difference too.
Yeah.
Waking up is not as hard, even though sometimes it's hard to go to bed. You don't have that much time after the kids fall asleep that you can decompress a little bit, but overall, I feel like I'm still much more productive, much happier. Even if I have like a little bit less personal time, I don't feel as overwhelmed.
I think in the past we wanted so much personal time after the kids were in bed because we were so overwhelmed from the day, right?
Yeah.
That you weren't ready to start the next day. But implementing a lot of this stuff and just having a different mindset and fulfillment with life in general has made it so you don't need so much of a reset at the end of the day.
Like it's nice, but it's not a requirement.
An hour.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, 90 minutes is good. Like you get an hour or 90 minutes of personal time, or whatever we're doing together to relax and get ready for the next day. Like that has been sufficient with getting good sleep and like getting that consistent 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And being ready to go, versus because you feel fulfilled with all that you've accomplished, because especially with that morning routine, getting so much done the first 2.5 hours of the day, and then obviously being productive throughout a work day, like you don't feel so much need to have like that personal relaxation time, because you're doing a lot of things that you need to do first thing in the morning.
Yeah. You're not trying to cram everything you need to do
at the end of the day.
Work. Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is like they wake up, they get ready, they get their kids off, they go to work, and they get back from work, they're stressed, they let the workout slip or the reading slip, or like all those important things that you should be putting in. By the time it's the second half of the day or the last quarter of the day, you're overwhelmed and stressed and tired from everything that came before. So that's what I think has been huge, is getting the sleep in and getting most of that stuff, that good stuff, done first, and then let the workday progress and the stress of the day progress, and then have your, you know, quick relaxation or reset time and get your sleep in, and then go do it again. So
it's not a chore to wake up now and to do your day.
Actually look forward to it, because you feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
Also been trying to do a lot more outside and just get a lot more fresh air. You know, so that's been good.
Vitamin D.
We have a lot of plans for a lot of hikes this year, and just spending.
If you have any favorite hikes in Utah, let us know.
Yes, that'll be great. So plan on doing that like every Sunday morning basically is what it's on our calendar right now. So let everybody know how that goes. And then just, you know, along with the health stuff, just been, you know, tracking what we're eating and our food intake and coffee, alcohol, water, everything, just making sure it's all at a healthy
we're not being like super strict and on some crazy diet. We're just trying to be aware.
A lifestyle change as far as this is just the way we eat, you know, portion control. So I think that's been huge too. We definitely recognize our bodies know when we overeat now, and we do not feel well.
Yeah. And I feel like our minds do a lot better job of not letting us overeat too. Like we get to a point where we're like, no, I'm good. I don't need anything else. I even said no to ice cream in Mexico. I'd eaten something and I was like, I don't need it. And I said no. And I was really surprised and pleased with myself.
Which is big
I
for her.
I never say no to ice cream.
Big for her, so.
Just little things that like you don't even realize until like something happens and you're like, wow, like we are making a lot of good changes.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of benefits.
Yeah. One thing I would love to add is just a bit of like visualization and goal setting. For more concrete goal setting. I mean, we set goals, but I think one thing we've struggled with is our goals being too broad.
Yeah.
So
not
we've been
easily trackable.
Yeah, been working on being much more specific in our goal setting and when those things are going to be accomplished, and a timeline and a time frame. So that's something we're still really working on really hard. That's very difficult for us. And then visualization is something, I don't know if I've talked to you about this even, but that I want to add in, and just like, you know, 120 seconds of visualization to our morning routine of like, what does the future look like? What are we trying to accomplish? What's our why? What are our, you know, what's it look like when we accomplish the things we're setting out to accomplish? Or like continuing on our progression, you know, as we get healthier and, you know, physically and mentally, what's that look like in the future? As our business grows, what's that look like? And taking that time to visualize it. And
I don't know that I've ever taken the time to do that. I feel like, you know, you want to make changes and, you know, like kind of what your life is going to look like.
Yeah.
But sitting out and like really thinking about it and like imagining that probably makes a huge impact. Yeah. We'll let you know once we start trying.
Yeah. Anything else that you're looking forward to implementing? We try to do one thing at a time so it doesn't overload ourselves or our schedule, and how do we fit it in, and
then get consistent with that before we try and add new things in.
Yeah, so like everything we do now, it's been like a 2-year process, you know. It started with one thing, add in the next, and just continually builds.
I feel like I've just been really focusing on like my water intake. That's really something that we were really good at for a while, and then weren't so great for a while, and it's just been like a continual like effort to get back to where we were and to be more consistent about that. So that's kind of where I'm focusing my attention right now.
Yeah, there's always so much, right? And if you feel like overwhelmed by how much you got to do or how much you want to improve or make changes to, you really need to just if it was me, I would make a list of what's everything that interests you or that you want to grow into or add to your life, write a list and then prioritize. What do you feel like is the most important thing first, and start consistently adding that and working that into your life, and then add the next thing and the next thing, and just continually keep growing it. So like, that's why New Year's resolutions fail, right? Everybody makes these grandiose New Year's resolutions, but there's no plan behind it. And then also, January 1st or 2nd, people jump right into the deep end and try to swim, but they don't have any of the skills, and they don't have any of the background to survive. And that's why everybody quits by the end of January. And it's just, again, you come around to New Year's again and people make the same exact goals and mistakes. Whereas if you just start smaller and work on your consistency, and don't worry about when you're starting or whatnot, but just put things into action.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree though. Starting small, adding one thing in, getting good at that before you add more things. Like I said before, I used to feel like it wasn't making any progress, but the real progress is being able to keep up on those things that you want to implement and you want to change. Mm-hmm. And I think you can't add 20 new things into your life and be good at any of them.
Yeah.
So it's that small, continual progression of adding things and trying to be a little bit better.
Yeah. If you were to start over 2 years ago, before we started doing any of this, what would you tell yourself has been the most impactful thing? Or what would you start with if you went back? What do you think has been the most important thing to kind of creating a more fulfilling life, or a life with some direction? And
waking up early and doing that morning routine. I feel like that's made it possible to add in all those other things and be the most consistent that we've been. And I feel like for me, that's made the most impact in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, like 100%. I was never a morning person.
No.
I was always up till midnight, 1, 2 a.m. I'd go to sleep. I usually haven't had an early job throughout my life, and so I could wake up at 9 a.m. or whatever and get on with life. And so, or 8 a.m. or whatever it was, but I was getting random hours of sleep, 5, 6, sometimes 7 hours of sleep, but always waking up a bit later. Like, I usually was up after you when you were at the spa, morning spa.
You'd go to bed after me.
Go to bed after you, wake up after you, and so I've always been a night owl person. And but I think a lot of that we've talked, I think a lot of that was just from like, I wasn't looking forward to the next day. So I'd like delay going to bed and just like, whatever. But that,
and then wait to start the day
wait to start the day as late as you could, and just crunching it all in, and it would just be kind of overwhelming, and you wouldn't look forward to it the next day.
Yeah.
But just making that change and shifting it and getting the good stuff in. I mean, now I fall asleep before you most of the time now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, because you snore a lot of the time. But
so
I think that would be my one piece of advice for people if you wanted to start somewhere, is try to implement a good morning routine, whether it's what we do or whatever it is that you want. Even just try and be consistent about waking up at the same time and eating breakfast and going to work, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That consistency in starting your day makes a huge impact in the rest of how your day goes.
And if you get up at 9 a.m. right now, or later, or whatever time you do not like jump 3 hours ahead.
No.
Like, you're never going to be able to sustain it. At least most people won't, because it's just such a difference. So the way we did it was we gradually went back 15 minutes every week. Yeah. So we'd go a week and we'd get up at a certain time, and then we'd move back 15 minutes the following week.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes the following week. If we weren't very successful one week, we just stayed there until we got the consistency.
Yeah.
So like stayed at 6:30 for like 3 weeks or something, and then moved 15 minutes again, and just, you could do smaller increments if you wanted, but that's just a little bit better each time.
Yeah.
And setting the habit to where now you can get up at the time, the goal you're setting for a time. So
it's not as much of a shock to your system trying to go from waking up really late to waking up super early.
Yeah.
Just like those New Year's resolutions, it's not sustainable to make such a massive change.
Yeah.
You need to implement it in small portions.
Yeah. But if you do read Atomic Habits, it's all about routines and stuff like that, and just making the things you want to do as easy as possible to do for yourself, so you get that consistency. So yeah, morning routine, bedtime routine, huge. Everything else kind of fits in between. It just works itself out. So but well, we hope you guys enjoyed this. It's definitely a bit longer than we had planned, so sorry. We get long-winded on stuff that we're interested in and enjoy, but we hope it brings some benefit to somebody. Even if that's one person, that would be fantastic. So
if you have any questions that got sparked about specific books or anything else, feel free to reach out. We'd love to answer. We're happy to help anyone we can.
Yeah, we'd even just love to connect and talk. Like, we're here. We just like to, that's another thing we've tried to add, is just surround ourselves with more like-minded people. Right? And
see
just
what's worked for them, how we can change maybe things that you do would work better for us or whatever.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to reach out. But thanks if you've watched this whole video, and
we'll see you next time.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.